Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Aaron
and Jeremy,
and we're going on a little hike adventure, and we're going to talk about something that I think we could all get better at. Let's go.
What's that?
I think you'll find out when we get there. But first, it's food time. All right, so we're going to go for a hike, and we're going to take Jeremy somewhere. It's pretty cool, and we're going to take you along with us. But the reason we're going on a hike is we want to talk a little bit about the importance of slowing down, taking some rest, getting out there, maybe turning the phone off a little bit. Phones aren't bad, but it's good to get out and enjoy nature.
All right.
While drinking coffee. All right, so to go where we're going to go, we're just going out of town. We're in Collingwood right now, and we're just going to head out of town, and we will see you at the trail. All right, let's go. Woo woo. This is a blooper. Stupid me had the phone set to time lapse, but we're going to start again. All right, so we're here at the Pretty River Valley Conservation. We're going to walk beside this river.
This is nice.
This is called the Pretty River, and we're just outside of Collingwood.
It's kind of pretty. Doesn't look too bad. So how do we get down past it?
We have to go this way, down here.
That looks steep.
All right. Don't fall.
Thanks.
This is the second time that we've done this because...
Oh, I was gonna act like we haven't done it before.
No,
I'm in shoes and it's very slippery.
We did this once and we forgot we were not filming. So...
Thankfully my feet are really big and it's like skis.
So here's our river.
Which is actually really nice.
Here, I'll give you a little panoramic.
I got more snow in my shoes this time, but it's still worth it.
So we wanted to come out to the forest just to talk about the importance of rest, because I think so many people in our culture don't really know how to rest, or they're not good at it. And so for a lot of us, we tend to like to come out into nature because it
touch
connects
snow.
us. Touch snow, touch grass, wherever you can find it. Because it gets us away from screens. It gets us, away from the hustle and bustle of our everyday lives. It is lacking screens, even though we're filming on one now. It just allows you to come in and just connect with nature. Not everyone likes that, but it's a good way to slow down. I'm caught on a tree. So Jeremy, you recently took a rest from work. What did that look like?
I did. So I did something that's called a sabbatical, and it's basically a biblical principle of taking a planned time off from your normal daily routines to rest. And the fact of the matter is, it's something that has been worked into your life too, even if you didn't realize it. Every school year, you take 2 months away.
2 months.
from doing that. So it's not ridiculously crazy. Some adults actually get to do that too, except it's spread out. It's every 5 to 10 years for us. And it's largely focused in like Christian job circles, but it is a principle that you have actually been impacted yourself as well.
So on your sabbatical, what were the sort of the signs of, oh, let's look at the river. That's kind of cool. Look at that.
I like it.
Frozen
Little
river.
ice-filled waterfall there.
So when you did your sabbatical, what were some of the reasons you went on it, and what did you do on your sabbatical?
I wanted to prevent burnout. Not that I was like, oh, super stressed out, but I felt myself getting a shorter getting a short temper. I just was less interested in new things. I felt myself getting happy a lot less. And I was like, you know what? It's time to just kind of take a break. I've had several like really stressful things happen leading up to that time, and I didn't really have time to grieve some of that stuff. Like some pretty significant losses in my life. So taking that time off let me kind of take a break from that. But also I ended up buying a house, which if I was working at the same time would have really been stressful, and it might have broken me. But having that time to rest mentally, physically, and emotionally, and kind of reconnect and recenter who I am as a husband and as a follower of God really was beneficial. And then when I jumped back in, I kind of felt like, oh, did I really get that rest that I needed? And I was like, oh, I'm able to do this. I'm able to like kind of be happier. My perspective is more optimistic. And slowly that was eroding, and I didn't even realize it until I really took that time to have that extended rest. But we don't have to have long extended rests in order for things to be good. Having a time to rest every day is so important. By that, I mean sleep. Your sleep is so important. So Aaron, why don't you tell them about some of the science and the reasons why sleep is so good for our physical health?
Yeah, so sleep is, I'm not a sleep pro by any means. I often have trouble sleeping myself, but sleep is really necessary for a couple of things. Number one, you have to shut your brain down. That is the time when your brain and your body are like healing the most. Is when you sleep. That's why people say that, like professionals say that you need like 6 to 8 hours, which is, I think, like a really good time frame. But I know some people have a hard time sleeping for whatever reason, whether it's maybe some mental health challenges, lifestyle challenges, family challenges. I get it. But I think really having that downtime to sleep and letting your brain reset is super crucial.
So yeah, sleep is super important. And getting a good night's sleep is really important. Part of that is actually taking a break from your screens. If you are on your phone right before you go to sleep, there's a good chance you're not going to get a good night's sleep. And like with that, it reminds me of like the principle of fasting as well. That's something that God has actually told us to do. The idea of taking, like, it used to be just fasting food, but now we kind of fast from our electronics and our phones and creating these spaces where, you know, we just let something go that we do almost daily. Just put it aside for a short period of time to focus more on things that are important, that we let these things kind of get in the way of. So it might be fasting fast food. It could be taking a break from your phone, but taking that break helps you reset And it's a way of almost reclaiming control. Have you ever felt like your phones and your devices have you just addicted to it, afraid of slipping and falling into FOMO?
I think that was a bit that turned into a real thing.
But I still have my coffee.
Okay, hey, we've recovered. All right, let's keep going.
As I was saying,
Wait, did you lose your microphone? No, you still good. You still
good?
on? Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
You're good. You're good.
Yeah, that stress of FOMO, like Aaron tripped, so then I had to trip too, right? To have that silly fun, although mine ended up being a real thing. That stress can really take a toll on our entire system. So, but also losing your phone is super, super stressful. So having a planned time to just kind of take that break from your phone to appreciate what's around you can be great. The conversations can be like way more fruitful. And studies have shown that if you have your phone in a safe place where you know where it is, your stress levels go down a ton. So if you're having issues with stress, taking a break from your phone helps you recover from that. And Aaron does a whole lot of like working out and physical stuff. And he's taught me through some things, and he tells me not to do it every day. Why is that?
Well, as a personal trainer, we're always talking to people about like the physical side of working out. You know, one day you might be in the gym strength training or doing some cardio or something like that, and those are all really beneficial things, and that's a good kind of stress for your body. Like there's good stress and there's bad stress, and whatever kind of stress you have, whether it's good or bad, afterwards you have to recover, because too much stress can be a bad thing, even if it's good stress. So let's use the gym, for example. There might be a time where we're in there and you're doing a bench press or a bicep curl or whatever, and you're working your muscles. If you work them so much and so hard, you'll get to the point of two stages. You'll get to muscle fatigue, which is when your muscles get tired. And the next step after that, Jared, you know what the next step is? What do we call that?
I don't remember.
Muscle failure.
Failure? Ooh, I've only had that once or twice.
And it is quite literally when your muscles in that workout stop working because you haven't given them time to rest.
I've seen races where people kind of collapse. There's this one time that we were out in BC climbing a mountain, and I just couldn't go anymore. I literally could not walk anymore. I was trapped on the mountain. But I had some rest, and I had to take some sugary things and some salty things in order to regain my energy. I had that one other time while biking, and I was not prepared, but thankfully the people I was biking with were. And there was this one time I was at a music festival, and I had a chance to interview one of like my musical, like one of my favorite musicians ever. I had a chance to interview him, and I was just completely worn out from the party because like we were camping, it wasn't restful, and I was just kind of go, and I went really hard at the concert, and then afterwards I was supposed to meet up with them, but I could barely make it to the tent because I wasn't letting I want to take in every single second, and my body just kind of gave up on me.
So when you're in the gym, most people, when we break things down into reps and sets, there is a time in between each set that you have to rest and recover, primarily because you have this compound in your muscles that are making them function. It's the fuel of your muscles. And if you're doing whatever workout, name your workout or exercise, if you're doing that, your muscles will quite literally run out of fuel if you do too much. The only way that you can continue going is, Jeremy?
Rest. There's another kind of rest, and that's kind of the spiritual rest. There's constantly times that we're getting bombarded with things and messages that really attack our soul, for lack of a better term. And having like a bit of a spiritual rest and reprieve is so important. It's actually one of the things that God has commanded us to do. One of the 10 commandments, like the 10 things, if you have a list of 10 things that God wants us to do, in that list is rest. And Jesus gets confronted by this while he's doing his ministry stuff when he's walking around the earth. And he says the Sabbath day, that's the day of rest, is made for us, for the people, the needs of the people. The people are not meant for the needs of the day of rest. Meaning that we need that day of rest. And it is actually a spiritual practice. You are, in act, worshiping God by taking that rest. You are listening to God and his commands for you to get that rest that you need, both mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And a spiritual rest can look like so many different things. For me, it might be throwing on music and going for a walk like this, appreciating his nature, but not like taking that time to appreciate God and not try to figure out what I need to do. But what does a spiritual rest look like for you, Aaron?
Well, for me, a lot of it is turning the phone off. I really enjoy taking quiet time, but my quiet time is like in the gym. My quiet time, I'm not a big journaler. I'm not a big meditator. I like to think about things a lot, and so a lot of my quiet time is in the gym when I'm working out. Believe it or not, I really get to focus. I really get to think about things. I get to pray about things, and so a lot of that for me goes hand in hand. And then also taking like a vacation. That might sound super weird, but being in this job, just getting away from everything for a little bit. I don't like always being on. I don't like always performing. I like to just have me time. And a lot of that is just stopping what I'm doing temporarily.
For me, a lot of my spiritual rest isn't quiet, which might sound really weird. But throwing on like some screamo music or going to a coffee shop that's really kind of busy with my Bible open is when I feel the most spiritually fed and at rest. When I am free to ask those questions of God or spend time in that prayer, it's often chaos around me, but my soul gets to quiet down, if that makes sense. Instead of cracking my Bible open next to like a very loud waterfall and having that chaos outside, for some reason helps to quiet my soul. But I kind of need that like energy around me in order to be able to find quiet. But that's because so many times my head, there's just always something else going on. So without that outside stimulation, it's really hard for me to be quiet on the inside.
So our question for you watching, young people, teenagers, maybe some older people, is what do you do to give yourself rest? Whether that's emotional rest, physical rest, spiritual rest, mental rest. What are you doing to rest and recover? And if you need to think of the analogy about in the gym, you're constantly going. You feel like you're kind of at the end and you need to stop. What are you doing to rest and recover?
That's clever because we're at the end of this trail.
We are, but we got to turn around. Here's the end of the trail. So what are you doing to rest and recover, because if you're not resting and recovering, you will crash and burn.
So it's good. Figure that stuff out. But there's another side to rest that can be really, really dangerous. And that's taking things too far.
Resting for long term.
Yeah. So one of the things I do actually like to do is I like to play video games. And if I play video games to relax my mind, right? To get out of that hustle and bustle, I'll throw on, a game and I'll play and escape into that world for a little bit. But if I'm not careful, like when I was a teenager, I'd play till 5 a.m. So knowing...
Which we get it, we used to be teenagers, but you can't do that forever, especially if you have a family and responsibilities.
Responsibility, what's that?
Exactly.
No. So knowing the limits to rest. If in my sabbatical, I knew that it was just 3 months. Your summer break, is just 2 months. That rest will end. And that's actually part of the beautiful thing about rest, is that you get to go back. You're rested, your body's rested, so that you can go back to the gym and you can get more, you can get stronger, you can do more. Rest is a key to being able to do more of what's important. Yeah.
I think that is where you grow and you're challenged. Because if you're constantly resting, let me use the gym again because it just makes sense to me. If you go to the gym, you go to the gym to work. You don't go to the gym to rest. And so if you're at the gym and you're doing exercises and you rest for too long, do you know what happens when you rest for too long at the gym?
Well, I can take it from basketball. If I rest too long while playing basketball, then it almost hurts to get back into it. My body's just like, no.
Yeah.
You want to stop moving now.
Your body will get to a point where it's comfortable with rest. And if you're meant to go to the gym and challenge your body and do like different exercises, rest is not going to get you back in there. Rest is the temporary part so that you can continue doing the work. And that's why if you rest too long, you'll get into this habit or this place where you don't want to do a whole lot. And that is pretty dangerous.
That idea of getting stronger and being able to kind of do things. Now, we're living in a world where computers can do the thinking and the processing for us and the learning for us. So if we take like that rest and we start abusing it, we can do ourselves a major disservice by not really learning. A lot of learning and personal growth happens through struggle and obstacle. Think about like diamonds, right? Diamonds don't just form, they form after years of pressure. They turn into the valuable stones that they are through pressure and obstacle and time. And for us, our learning and our growth happens through struggle and time. It's just that God has invited us through that struggle and time for these moments of rest. Not to stay in rest, but for moments of rest. There's this depiction of hell in a I want to say it was like not the Fawlty Towers, but in the Twilight Zone, I think, where this one guy got everything he wanted all of the time, and after a while he realized, oh, this is hell. I have everything I wanted without any challenges. There's another show that explores kind of the afterlife called The Good Place. And the main characters realize it's the good place when they're just getting everything that they wanted. We are designed to have some of that struggle, to overcome it, to grow. And without it, when we get everything that we want, it's actually our own hell. So that's not like Christian theology. That's just the message of those shows. But there is that hint of truth in it, right?
Point gets across. You know, when we rest, we slow down. When we rest, we get to hear things a little more clearly. because our world is so noisy with things like, we're out, if you go into town or whatever, there's lots of people, there's billboards, there's ads, there's everything that is meant to distract us from really what we want. And to a large degree, that's why those things exist. And the only way to get away from those things is to intentionally step aside and quietly listen to your life, listen to your thoughts, listen for God, all those things, because our world is so noisy.
So there are some people that have gone out trying to just seek recording silence. And the amount of time it takes to record silence with like a helicopter or a plane in the distance or whatever, to get 1 hour of silence now takes something like 72 hours. And it's just getting longer and longer and longer. By the way, like, I know it's not silence, but there's something really nice about just hearing that babbling brook. So in this walk, can we just stop for a second and appreciate the nature that's around us?
It's quiet, you can't hear anything other than the river. Studies have shown, and being a personal trainer, I work in a cardiac rehab program with people that have had heart attacks and strokes, and other people that have had procedures, massive procedures to avoid those things. And for whatever reason, they had a heart attack or a stroke. It could have been inactivity. It could have just been genetics. Lots of things. But one of the big key things in our lives that we don't really pay attention to physically is our heart health. And your heart is pumping your lifeblood. And if you don't have that, then you can't live, or you'll have big issues if there's problems with it. And so that's why a lot we talk about having a heart healthy diet and a heart healthy lifestyle and things like that. But for a lot of people that are in that pre-lifestyle, high blood pressure is a major warning sign of things like coronary artery disease, hypertension, angina, all these things. And high blood pressure, they say, is like the silent killer. And I was diagnosed with high blood pressure 2 years ago. I've had it for a long time. It runs in my family. But it's one of those things that if your heart is working too fast and too much and creating that pressure, you're in for some big, dangerous things ahead. And so I had to go on medication. Everything's cool now. But one of the things we do in the cardiac rehab program with people to lower their blood pressure. Sorry, there's an animal in the tree. So I can see what it is. A bird?
As you were talking, I hit a branch to my head and a bunch of snow fell down my back. So I'm in the background doing stuff. But what Aaron's saying is good.
I left them on a cliffhanger.
I want to know what happens in the cardiac rehabilitation center.
Every time we go before we work out, to lower blood pressure, we take at least 1 minute of meditation. It's not a Christian place, so we don't pray, but prayer and meditation really can go hand in hand if you would like. And even 1 minute of meditating, closing your eyes, focusing on your breathing, relaxing, even 1 minute lowers your blood pressure by 10 to 20 points. And I've seen it happen.
And that's kind of one of those things that happens too when we pray, right? We're taking that moment to rest, to meditate, and to kind of focus our attention towards God. And in that, there's like a dulling of our senses and giving those things over to God, which helps lower our blood pressure. It has been proven scientifically that stopping to pray does that.
As we come to the end of this hike, and we've even just taken even 40 minutes out of our day to do this, to talk about the importance of slowing down and resting, we hope that you'll take even one thing that we've said about the importance of resting, whether that's physical rest, whether that's spiritual rest, whether that's mental rest, emotional rest, taking time to actually slow down in whatever it is that you're doing, to reflect, to refresh, recharge. Man, that's so important. And I didn't really understand that when I was a teenager, which is why we spend a lot of our time really trying to hammer some of these points home with you guys.
And I heard a lot of that stuff when I was a teenager, and it was really in one ear out the other. Except now that I'm older, I am learning to actually listen back to those old lessons. And as I actually look towards God, I'm a big sci-fi nerd. And one of the things that they say a lot in sci-fi is Godspeed. And usually that means going really, really fast. But did you know that God in the Bible actually has a speed? And he invites us to follow it. In a world obsessed with hustle, 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 God moves, and you can look this up for yourself. Jesus, when he was on earth, he didn't fly around going from place to place to place to place. There were a couple times where people ran like the Flash, but God moves.
The Flash was in the Bible?
Yeah, there's a guy that runs like 600 kilometers in an evening.
Cool.
But I think that's 1 Kings 18. Anyways, Jesus is recorded moving at walking speed. So
yeah, I don't think Jesus ever ran anywhere.
He is walking. God walks. And we're invited to walk humbly with him.
Let's take 1 minute. And this might be awkward for some of you. Let's take 1 minute and end this video just breathing, relaxing, praying, whatever you want to do. And maybe I'll put the camera right over there. You can look at the river, whatever. And we'll fade to black, and that will be it. So until our next video that we will be doing, I'm Aaron.
I'm Jeremy.
Until next time, this is The Wanderers. We'll see ya.